Where are we?
We're at Rosemont College at the Patricia Nugent Gallery. The first time I came here was about 45 years ago when it was called the Lawrence Gallery, but it's named after the painter Patricia Nugent now, who taught here for 50 years.
And you're a teacher or a student?
No,
What's your name, sir?
I'm Bill Scott.
Oh, the artist.
Okay, here comes the humor. I do have humor.
Bill has humor indeed.
I grew up in Haverford. When young, I came to Rosemont only for dentist appointments. Hence, the word Rosemont panicked me because I associated it with the pain of the dentist drilling into my teeth. It wasn't until I had moved into Philadelphia and was a student at the Pennsylvania Academy that I went to a new dentist who introduced me to Novocaine.
But in addition to humor, Bill has kindness and respect. So before we look in depth at his work, he wanted to mention some other shows that he has loved here at Rosemont.
I saw wonderful artworks here, including a show curated by the gallerist Marion Locks of women artists. It included paintings by my two most cherished mentors, Jane Piper and Joan Mitchell. And even before Marion's show, more than 30 years ago, I hung an exhibition here of paintings by my then 91-year-old friend, Keita Broadhead. I felt elated when not too long ago, Jennifer Baker brought me here to see her gorgeously bittersweet autobiographical painting exhibition. A year ago, February, I took the train out here from Center City to see and attend the reception for Chris Schmidt's exhibition. That was the afternoon when Michael Wilsey offered to present this exhibition of my work. These paintings were made in the last 3 years. I worked off and on each of them for almost 2 years. I love that there are only 7 canvases and so much breathing space. It's how I've dreamed of seeing them. I offer infinite gratitude to Michael Wilsey for enabling this and allowing me to see my paintings this way.
Chris Schmidt, artist and gallerist extraordinaire. I understand you and Bill are friends.
Yeah, for quite a long time, 40 plus years. He used to run a gallery, Gross McLeaf, and I used to run Ben Mangle Gallery. And so we used to get together after hours and meet up with Carol Larson, who was running Dolan Maxwell. And we had a little art club where we used to talk art, talk about our own work and all that fun stuff.
Bill is a big fan and he loved your show.
Yeah, well, Billy, there's nobody in Philadelphia who is more of an inspiration than Bill Scott. Not only is he universally loved and respected for his work, but he's just outrageously supportive. It's nice to see him get better and better with each show. I'll give you a good Bill Scott story.
Okay.
This was when he was having his show at Fleischer Memorial, late 80s, early 90s. It really made me look at Bill's work differently. And I went to this thing, and I'm looking at this work, and I know Bill, and I knew his mother just died. His favorite aunt died, and his father died, and within weeks before the show, his favorite cat died. And I'm like, Bill, what the hell is this? Why are you painting like this? Your head should be in the sand. And he just looks at me and goes, it's all about the Nile. And then I started to look at the work again. There was a darkness to it. It was almost pushing the sort of negative vibes out with all this beauty and all this color. The work just awoke to me at that moment. It was a flippant statement from him probably, but...
I love the line in a Jesse Winchester song, "What a good thing to make a joyful noise." I hope my paintings are that, yet I see myself as more of a hopeful pessimist. I'm not sure if I would paint the way I do if I were an optimist. I feel despair, but paint against reality to create what I yearn for. Unachievable calm, wonderment, pleasure, harmony, kindness. It's all fiction. Through the paintings, however, I want to feel as if it might all be real.
Mika Thurin and Ben Passione, longtime friends of Bill Scott. What makes Bill such a special guy to you?
He's very joyful.
He's very joyful.
Yeah, in his paintings.
You would go to the ends of the earth, you two, to see a Bill Scott show. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Every time, yeah.
Recently, my propensity to feel rudderless has intensified. This is maybe why I titled this exhibition, My Trail of Breadcrumbs. Metaphorically, my paintings are my breadcrumbs, offering me a route both forward and backwards. While I attempt to remain in the present moment, completely alert as I paint, actively engaged with the juxtaposition of colors and brushstrokes, the differentiated touch of paint application, the smell of the turpentine and paint. There are usually about 15 paintings in my studio that I'm working on. Most are faced to the wall. Sometimes I don't look at them for several weeks if I don't know what to do next. A while later, when I look at them again, it's as if they indicate what I should do, and I get right back to working with them. When is it finished? I stop when I realize I'm no longer grinding my teeth. The painting no longer needs me. When I was young, I made many collages with pieces of cut paper. I think elements of collage still appear in my work. For example, I'll have flat color shapes with razor sharp edges juxtaposed together. They create space for me.
John Luca, who I met at the Academy when you got your master's a couple of years ago. What do you think of his work?
It's great. I learn a lot from it. He has said things to me like, well, my paintings have a foreground, a midground, and a background. And so when I'm looking at the paintings, I'm like, oh, okay, there's the midground, there's the foreground. And then I see how he uses orbs and circles a lot, but he changes the size in a very conscious way, and so creates a sense of different regions where you would be looking at something further away, so they're smaller, and how he uses sometimes strong verticals to balance out some of his more energetic, diagonal, organic-looking things.
The sharp white linear element descending through my painting, The Garden at Cimier, signifies death, which I know isn't what people want to hear. But for me, it feels like that slim sliver of light that you hear people talk about seeing when they die. Walk to the light. That's what it is for me. Those kinds of things keep me painting. 20 years ago was the first time I used that white, consciously for that reason.
Bill, complete this sentence. Although elements in my work, like spatial relationships, are taken from observable reality,
I'm not creating a literal visual transcription of something in the world that people can stand in front of and see.
Paul Dussault. Aesthetically, you're quite different from Bill, or maybe you're not. What brought you to Bill's show?
Bill was one of the first people I met when I was 18, going to the Academy. And he was so generous with his time and just immediately was open to being friends, even though he was a graduate and much more sophisticated than me. And just over the years, I've known him and continually become more and more admiring of his work, the sophistication of it, the devotion. And I'm a representational painter, Bill's an abstract painter, but there's a way now, in this day and age, we have more in common just being painters than we do with most of the rest of the contemporary art world.
In other words, you're not gluing bananas to the wall.
We're both quite traditional, as a matter of fact, and there's nothing conceptual about it. It's a relationship to the history of the art of painting. Bill has made works that were influenced by the Impressionist collection at the Philadelphia Museum, a particular Renoir that I know he's greatly admiring of and has made his own versions of.
I take a lot of walks. Sometimes the most productive walks are when I end up at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Say hi to a few of the guards who I like, look at 2 or 3 things, and leave, feeling I'll be able to paint again. People sometimes ask, what do you think about when you paint? What are your ideas? I have no ideas. I'm completely alert when I'm painting, but I could also say that I'm not even there. When starting a painting, I don't have a plan or even a clue as to what it will become. But I have tremendous faith in the process. Paintings for me can parallel friendships in that each one is unique and defined by how far you and the other person are able and willing to go together. I don't want my paintings to be like strangers or cocktail party acquaintances. I want something more deeply meaningful and resilient.
Michael Chervo, I understand you went to the academy. Was Bill one of your teachers?
He was one of my favorite teachers. He's become one of my best friends. Incredibly generous, inspiring person.
I should know what your paintings are like, but I don't. But I imagine they don't look just like Bill's.
They don't look anything like Bill's. I think that's why we get along so well. But I feel like we both find things in the painting. That's something that he helped me figure out.
He's more about you than about himself, I think.
Always. Yeah, always.
When I taught, I realized I learned far more from being in the company of my students than anything they learned from me. Paintings transport me to so many different places, feelings, hopes, and memories. The questions and possibilities that emerge are far more important to me than having answers or knowing solutions.
Glenn Heron, you and I and Bill were all classmates at the academy. Glad to see you here at the show. Do you have anything to say about Bill?
All I could say is as soon as I walked in the gallery, my first expression was wow. I think that's about the best compliment you get for a painter. Wow. It's a beautiful show.
Bill, do you have any advice for your fellow pessimists out there?
I loved when someone told me, action is the antidote to despair. My action is to paint. It's the only time in my life when I have absolutely no fear.
Bill, I'm getting frightfully old, and honestly, I'm a bit scared. What should I do when I die?
Walk to the light.
But for all of you not on death's door, don't walk, run to Rosemont College, where Bill's exceptional show will be up through September 29th, 2025.